What a way to start it there. Got a little too excited ahead of myself. I was going to say it's good to be back with everybody after that winter break, the holiday break there. Good to see you all again. Too bad it can't be under better circumstances following a Kraken win, but I'm still glad to be back here doing ECH post-game live with you all, presented by Queen Anne Beer Hall. Awesome place to go watch the game if you can't get into CPA, or go watch the away games there. Hang out with some fellow Kraken fans. Yeah, so as I said, wish this could have been a win. Just a couple, holdover issues for the Kraken from before this last winter break, right? Discipline issue comes back to strike them in this one. You only have one power play opportunity for yourself, but you give the Flames four. I know you killed off 75% of those, but you can't be that unbalanced with it. And then obviously just the amount of shots that they allowed, and then the defensive lapses that were really the story for the Kraken, before this break. Clearly an issue still after the break in this one, as all three Flames goals really just big defensive lapses, just allowing guys into spots where they shouldn't be, or letting them out muscle you in the case of the first one, obviously, or letting someone go in for a moving screen and a tip on the second one. And then, like I said, just letting some guy just hang out in the low slot all by himself, despite having two defensemen and Matty Beniers there. Just nobody picks up Huberdeau, I guess. I don't know. Odd one there. That was rough. That being said, still got some good ones. Got another defensive goal, as Panger pointed out on the TNT broadcast, which it's so nice that we still get Forsland for those. 19 goals now from Kraken defensemen. That is just unbelievable how the Kraken defensemen are able to join rushes, and works because you have guys like Matty Beniers able to take a step back and cover the point there for Jamie Alexiak as he gets his goal. Ryan Donato keeping things going. That fourth line, Brandon Tanev with lots of good chances, Morgan Geekie with good chances, Sprong with a breakaway there early on in the game. So all the positives for the Kraken stayed positives. It's just unfortunate that the negatives have kind of stayed negatives as we pick up play here post-holiday break. Also, just real quick, I was sick kind of over past weekend. All my symptoms totally cleared up. I'm like totally better, but my voice just isn't very strong yet. And I lack a little when I get excited up here. It just kind of goes away. So don't know when the voice will be back to normal, but otherwise I'm like totally healthy and fine. So bear with me for that, I guess. As I jump over here to chat, happy to be seeing everybody's names in here again. Like I said, just happy to be back. Hope everybody had a nice little break there. Coop, PK issues are going to really hold this team back. Group played great, but still open triggers right into his grill. Yeah, got to be able to help out your goaltender, especially on a night where he's going to make what? I mean, he makes over 40 saves, makes 41 saves. I mean, Grubauer really kept them in this game. Like, absolutely. They were just allowing him to be peppered with shots in this one. And then, yeah, on all three goals, I don't know what a goaltender is supposed to do there. Like, those are defensive issues. He wasn't getting helped out a lot by his team on any of those three goals. And really, I think there was three other times where the defense had issues as well. Three other plays that thankfully weren't goals. But it's just something the Kraken have to be working on. And so far, we just haven't. It's just still an issue for them. James, when will Beniers be power play one? Let me see. It's tough to tell on like a night like tonight. But yeah, I mean, he has been on the first power play. I think what happened tonight was the second unit was out there, and then they had established zone time. And so they were, you're not really changing out your power play guys when you're out there. Cause normally Beniers is going to have, more time than he had in this one tonight. I think that was just part of it. And compared to some other guys out there on the team, he would normally have more minutes then. So I think that's largely what it was there, was just the second unit power play happened to be out there when they had most of the zone time. So, you're just going to keep that, right. They have to stay out there for that play. But otherwise, Matty tends to be in the upper echelon of power play minutes for most games, James. Coop, frustrating game. We were buzzing for a bit during the second until that penalty to tie it. Agreed. I felt like that was a turning point there, Coop, in that second period. Again, another discipline issue for this Kraken team. And it's a hard thing to bounce back from. especially when you allow a goal on it. And, that was the only time they allowed a goal on the power play. The PK, I thought, did a pretty good job in this one, but it is just one of those momentum killers. It's one of those things that can be, a momentum swing moment in a game. And, that's why you just got to do your best to try to stay disciplined no matter what. And the best way to keep yourself out of those situations is just not take penalties. Brian, great effort by Grubauer. Donato's still hot. Absolutely, Brian. Obviously got the Donato jersey there as your avatar here on YouTube. And yeah, Donato is absolutely still playing out of his mind. Fantastic play by him. Get the shot, get the rebound, send it home. What a fantastic play, especially late in that period. I feel like that's partly why the Kraken had so much, momentum in that early second, right? The first 10 minutes of that second period. Up until that power play was, I think a large part because of that Ryan Donato goal. They started a little slow in that period. They picked up pace, got rewarded with that Donato goal. That was a very workmanlike goal. Continue things going early in the second period, get Jamie Alexiak involved, get him a goal, and everything was going from there. And then, yeah, as you said, Grubauer was, this game could have been really, really ugly if they had anybody in there but Philip Grubauer tonight. He really had a good game for them. Coop was happy to see Schwartz came back for sure, and I thought he played a really good game. It really helped things out defensively too. At times, a couple key plays defensively, as well as just that offensive grit, net front presence, all that good stuff that Jaden Schwartz can bring to this lineup. Sergeant Pickles, we are back into decline the power play territory, and Turbo's ghost must have been the extra man on that penalty. Letting Huberdeau go unchallenged in front of the net is certainly a choice. Yeah, it was not good at all. There's just no way around that one. Everybody's going to be hearing from it. I believe it was Vince Dunn and Jaden and Justin Schultz out there for that. And then Matty Beniers is the center who originally was back and had Huberdeau. And then I guess he thought he was passing him off to the defenders. Neither defender left the side of the net. And then you just get kind of a dang it. Really, like that's a defensive dang it for sure. Hunter soft as D in front of the net tonight. 2 goals allowed from not clearing opponent net front. Need to be more physical. I agree with you, Hunter, 1,000%. That's got to be the message from the coaching staff after this one. There's no way you can watch that tape back and not come to that conclusion. It's just unfortunate because, like I said, this isn't like a new problem. This isn't like they're rusty from having half a week off and this is a problem now. That's just been a problem for them. So at some point it's really got to get addressed if they want to get moving again. Studs, Duncan Donato would not be denied. I like that, Sergeant Pickles. Big rig with the sauce. Who knew? Grubauer 41 saves should have been enough. Agree with you there. Absolutely. Grubauer did more than enough on this one. I'm currently hack after the too many men call level of pissed. I know that was an interesting situation. Both that and then the icing situation where they call Calgary out for the guy making the change, but then it takes so long that it negates the point of even doing it. Man, that was some slanted ice in the third from Nathan there. I know it really felt like their momentum just kind of died late on, and they weren't, once they were down 3-2, that last 8 minutes or so, Kraken needed a bigger push. I just think that's the bottom line. They just needed a bigger push and they didn't get it. Hunter, if we don't make the playoffs, circle these last 2 games, very winnable games against division opponents. Absolutely agree. I still think the Kraken, they're in obviously a solid spot as far as the playoffs are looking, but these are games you got to find ways of winning and or not lose. This is an example of a game in which the Kraken lost the game. Your goaltender plays really well. You're getting chances. You're getting your defense involved, able to get goals from them. You got a depth goal. Your top 2 lines, maybe they need to score some. But otherwise, just defensive mistakes that at this level against guys like a Jonathan Huberdeau, it's going to cost you, 8 out of 10 times. That play is going to result in a goal for him. So you just got to limit those mistakes. And I know, maybe there was only like 6 total mistakes, but at the bottom line is at the NHL level, if you give a team 6 total mistakes, you can expect them to get 2 or 3 goals out of that. And it just goes to show how absolutely on it you have to be throughout an entire game in order to get wins in the National Hockey League. And right now, the Kraken defensively not quite playing to that level. They're not quite limiting those mistakes enough. Atomic Shockwave, glad to be back. Me too. Glad to be back with you all on these post games again, presented by Queen Anne Beer Hall. Let's give them an extra shout out here early on, just for the break too. Coop, was Maddie too high on that Huberdeau goal, or was the D supposed to be higher? So that's an interesting one. Obviously, low slot could be the center's responsibility, particularly if, like, in the case of that play had originally been off in the corner, on Justin Schultz's side. Whether you're gonna, no matter how you look at that, it's either left or right side. So play had originally been in that corner, and if you look on the replay, they had that kind of sky view. Schultz goes into the corner to try to get that to deal with the play while it's in the corner. And Maddie is playing back and is very much on Huberdeau. Maddie is net front. He's on Huberdeau. Once play leaves that, Maddie goes and steps up, assuming he can drop off coverage to Schultz, who's now returning to net front. But Schultz kind of stops, and the way the play develops, Schultz doesn't really get there, and he certainly doesn't really make a beeline to tie up Huberdeau. So I don't know if he thought Maddie should have stayed back. It's certainly one where Maddie could have stayed back. Like, I don't know exactly what their defensive responsibilities are, what the defensive system is, what that would tell who's responsible there, the defenseman or the center. But that's what I saw as it developed was, Maddie reads it, plays in the corner. My defenseman's in the corner. I'm back. Play has left the corner. My defenseman's coming back. I'm going to hand off this coverage. And then just nobody picked up that coverage once Maddie went to hand it off. Again, whether Maddie was supposed to hand it off so soon or really wait until Schultz gets back or make sure Vince Dunn comes up, because the Kraken are in the midst of a change. That's why Vince Dunn's out there. I don't know. That's a specific thing to the Kraken, but you're right. I mean, Maddie was too high ultimately, and or no defender stepped up. It was just a combination. And again, whose fault that's on, that's something only Kraken know internally. Nathan, yeah, you can't leave Huberdeau alone net front like that. Absolutely. Medeiros, this is the angriest I've ever been. I don't even have to work tomorrow, and I'm putting myself to bed. Well, thank you for joining us for the brief time that you did, Medeiros, today. It's always good to see you and hear from you. But yes, I mean, I can understand. Grubauer had a fantastic performance, showed up for the national audience, and the team didn't really help him out much on this one. That's for sure. But like I said, it's just good to see you and everybody else again here on these post games. Atomic Shockwave, as much as not being able to maintain offensive pressure possession, yes, I mean, you got to be able to do that as well as clean up those things defensively. Joey, out of the playoffs officially, so disappointing how bad we played tonight. Our defense is so weak. Obviously, we talked about the defense. Yes, maybe technically out of a playoff spot right now, but the Kraken still have a number of games in hand on basically everybody else. So, the Kraken are going to make up a lot of that in this brutal stretch they've got coming up here. Like, you better get used to my face. Sorry. But we got a lot of Kraken games coming up here where they're going to kind of make up that stretch. But that's why it was kind of important to maybe start that off really solid with a win tonight, or at least a better looking game defensively, maybe. Ty, apologies in advance. I will be there Friday versus Edmonton. Oh boy, everybody. Just kidding, Ty. Reverse retro night felt safe since it can't just be my fault if they LOL out offense tonight. Yeah, I mean, I still think the defense really is the problem here on this one. But again, like I mentioned earlier, top six, maybe get involved in scoring a goal. Just saying, maybe. But yes, I mean, wow, that's going to be a double whammy. Hopefully, Ty's energy and the reverse retro jersey energy can cancel each other out, right? Two negatives become a positive if you multiply, right? That's the rule. I don't know. It's been 1,000 years since I've had to do that kind of stuff, but I believe that's the mathematic rule. Hopefully, that's the case on Friday against Edmonton. Everybody. Hunter, if this game doesn't show we need a top pairing defenseman, I don't know what will. Hey, man, the Kraken could join the club of 28 other NHL teams that could probably use a top pairing defenseman. I did think it was very telling when Darren Pang asked during the broadcast, he asked John Forslund, hey, do the Kraken change up their defensive pairs? And John Forslund, as we all would say, is like, no, they do not. And I thought that was telling. And I do think that it's showing that the Kraken lack depth defensively, because it's felt like for a while they needed to shake up things defensively, but I can't for the life of me figure out what it would change to. Like, what would they go to? What pairings would we realistically have them shift to? I don't I don't know. There isn't really kind of a good solution to it. It's just one where, I mean, everybody's just got to play better. You just got to be better is the bottom line defensively. So we've talked about it. We'll have more of that. We'll get more into that as far as who's going to be available heading into the trade deadline. But every year, I mean, those defensemen are very coveted. You got to almost overpay to acquire even just a rental. And will it make sense for the Kraken to be doing that in their situation? I don't know. It's going to be tough, but I think it might have to be something that's left more towards the off season. But it is clear that the depth defensively isn't there because it's limiting their flexibility defensively when the group is running into tough spots like they have been recently. They just don't seem to be able to shake it up the way that maybe another team would be able to. Chris felt like D and Grew were fine, just no third period fire. Need to be better on the neutral zone. I don't know the D. I think all three of those goals were those are pretty brutal defensive plays. But yeah, I mean, agreed. I mean, the offense needed to be better, especially in the third period. Just no big push from them in this one to try to get the equalizer or anything. Nathan, thank you so much for reminding everybody to like the stream. That's right. Thank you, everybody. Jay, I felt like we had a few chances where if someone had been in front of the goal, we could have scored. That's been a kind of a consistent problem for the Kraken last 2 seasons. They've been better about it this year. Obviously, having Jaden Schwartz back in the lineup, he's a good net front presence. But yeah, I mean, you want somebody there for rebounds and stuff. Shane Wright, if you've been watching Canada at the World Juniors, Shane Wright's been doing a lot of that 5-on-5 especially, and then also on the power play especially. So I do think, we saw him kind of get a goal from that kind of low slot area. A lot of Shane Wright's chances at the NHL level have kind of been there. It might be something where if Shane Wright comes back from Team Canada, sticks with the Kraken, we could see Shane Wright kind of turn into that guy for the Seattle Kraken. But bottom line, overall, they need it. You just need more of that. Really, you need somebody on the Beniers line. McCann is a sniper. You don't really want him there. Traditionally, Jordan Eberle's been a sniper. You don't want him there. And then Matty is so good and so dynamic as a passer. You want him to feel free to kind of move around the offensive zone as he sees fit. So that's, a borderline top line for your team in which nobody is really kind of suited for that net front role. I think they're kind of trying to push Eberle into that kind of role. He's kind of playing off net a little bit. But that is something to consider, maybe the next time they shift the forward pairs around, maybe get a Jaden Schwartz back up into that position, give that Matty line, your top line that you're going to throw out there late in the third period, like tonight, give that line somebody who is going to go net front and kind of be that presence for you. Good call there, Jay. Daniel, they kicked our butts in the third. Looked like we were the team on the second half of back-to-back. I know. I mean, they just outworked them there. Chris, absolutely need to fix the PK, giving every opponent 1 to 2 free goals a game. Agreed. I mean, they did better than usual in a game like tonight, right? Above average, 75% kill rate for them. Again, I don't know what the solution is to fix the PK. Just the number one way would just to be avoid those situations, period. Just be more disciplined. Don't take penalties. I honestly think that's the best solution for the PK problem at the current moment. All of these games, we're giving the opposing team more power play looks than we're getting. Like, you're just never going to consistently win if you're doing that. Just something that they need to do. Tanev, can you please hit a breakaway from Daniel? I know. Talk about picking up where you left off before the break. Brandon Tanev had all sorts of issues on some of those before the break in those last couple of games, kind of continuing that here. Look, Brandon Tanev never been known as a finisher. He's always been more of an energy guy. But yeah, at some point, one of those is going to go in for him. They just got it. They just got it. Nathan, why were Calgary's zone entries on the power play looking so much easier than our zone entries on the power play? I mean, our zone entries on the power play have been a sticking point for me for a very, very long time. Bottom line is they were just doing a better job of hitting with speed, of seeing defensively what the Kraken were doing. I don't feel like the Kraken do a very good job of really holding the line very well, but applying a lot of pressure. The forwards play pretty passive on those zone entries. A lot of other teams don't. I think that's something that the Kraken PK could do better. But yeah, I mean, the bottom line is the person moving with speed for Calgary was able to see which side was good, which side didn't really have anybody covering, pass over to that side, player carries it into the zone. Like it can be that simple. And so you just got to do a better job of trying to keep pressure and keep it even across that line. Not kind of give an obvious read as to, hey, like enter here, unless you're going to try to do some sort of trap. But I don't think the Kraken are really doing that. SJ, do you think Sprong gets scratched for Tolvanen after this one? It's certainly possible. I could see Hackstall. We'll ask RJ when he joins us after media availability. I do think Hackstall might want to make some sort of change tonight. Can't take Donato out of the lineup right now, given how he's been playing. Sprong would be the guy probably if you're going to do that. I just think Tanev brings too much. The fact that he plays so much on your PK, you can't scratch him. So yeah, Sprong is kind of that kind of guy down there. It's certainly possible. We'll definitely ask RJ9. Grew made some great saves. He needed more help from the D, especially on that Huberto goal. Also, penalty minutes are killing us. Absolutely. I mean, we've been talking about that one all night. Oh, and thoughts on Schultz versus Dunn power play 1. I am a Schultz guy all the way. Vince Dunn has done an exceptional job stepping up and changing how he's played. He's gotten a lot more aggressive. If you watch that first intermission for TNT, Rick Tocchet, they talked about power play stuff and with Keith Yandel as far as where the defenseman should be, and talked about, I think it was like your chances of scoring on a power play jump by like 33% if you really make sure that your defenseman is like center of the ice there. And so I do think that, Vin and can take shots there and feels free to take shots, all that kind of stuff. And so I do feel like Vince Dunn has done a better job of walking the puck to that center and opening things up offensively for himself as far as taking shots and things. But I still think, Justin Schultz is just, I mean, he's been doing this for a long time. He's been part of Stanley Cup winning teams doing it. I just think he's really, really good at it. He's really, really special at it. I think Justin Schultz has to kind of stay the guy out there for that power play 1 at the moment. Again, we talked about it earlier with the only one power play, that second unit kind of got caught out there for most of it. That's why the ice time, Vince Dunn had more ice time in this one than Schultz. I think traditionally Schultz is going to get that ice time. Daniel, seemed like they kick our butt every time we dump the puck and we could never get it back. That's partly just playing a Daryl Sutter team. They're just really good at doing that. That they're physical, they're strong. Those forwards, they back check. I mean, those wingers come all the way down to help out their defensemen below the goal line. It's just something that all Daryl Sutter teams have done. And yeah, it's everybody struggles with it. That's not unique to the Kraken problem there. James, second period was strong for us. Think there's any reason why? I wish we could play like that in the first and third. I think it was the momentum, getting that, starting to play better at the end of the first. You get rewarded with the Donato goal. That hard work pays off. You're able to keep that momentum going into the second. That, and all season long, Kraken have been very, very good at making adjustments intermission to intermission. And I think you saw that in this one. They did a good job adjusting how they wanted to attack the Flames 5-on-5. And you were able to get, again, rewarded for that very early on with that Jamie Alexiak goal. And up until you take that penalty and you get that, the Flames get that Kadri power play goal, the momentum was still very much in the Kraken's favor during that second period. But I think it's all about building momentum going into an intermission and then making those intermission adjustments that Dave Hackstall and the rest of the coaching staff have been very, very good at so far this season. Daniel, that loss is the referee's fault. And RJ, how was the sea shanty? All right, I'll have to make sure to remember that, to ask RJ that when he joins us. Dexter got dominated the last 30 by a team coming off back-to-back, shaking my head. It's true. I mean, they needed to find a spark, and they just kind of weren't able to get one. Let's see. Daniel, after watching a couple days of World Juniors, that first period looked like it was on warp speed. NHL is a different game, my friends. Very, very much so. The NHL is a different game from all other levels. Let me tell you, going to Coachella Valley and then coming back watching NHL hockey, just like, all right, that's how this is. That's how it is. I see. All right, RJ's here, ready to join us. Let's bring RJ in. Hey, RJ, how's it going? How was everything? How was it being back in CPA for Kraken?
I mean, it was really nice being back in CPA after some of this time off, and including ice skating outside of CPA. So it was nice being back in the building tonight. And again, there was some really good energy from the fans. I felt like, this had the potential to be one of those really like loudest games if things had broke the right way for the Kraken tonight. So it was good to be back. Interesting to be back in the locker room after the game too. And Dylan, are you okay, Dylan? By the way, your voice doesn't sound quite right. We haven't talked in a couple days.
I know.
Are you all right?
Yeah, I was sick. I'm like better. All the congestion's gone. Haven't been coughing. Haven't been anything for a couple days now. But the voice just like never came back. So
okay, well, I know how that is. I think that a similar thing happened to me actually. When I was dealing with the voice issues. So anyway, hope that comes back. But glad you're feeling good enough to hang in there for this. So I mean, how's the mood been in chat so far?
Yeah, can't leave Huberdeau alone in front of a net. The fact that the energy and everything really shifted, and the Kraken weren't ever able to get any of it back after that Kadri power play goal, and then just it would have been nice to maybe generate some sort of spark there in the third period instead of just kind of getting dominated a little bit. Like if we're being honest in that third period.
Yeah, they absolutely did, and I think that kind of matches the assessment from everyone after the game. I mean, we talked to Philip Grubauer, and I don't think he gave an answer longer than 4 or 5 words. Huh?
Heck of a game from him.
Great game for him, but of course, as when you lose a game like that, you never want to be like, yeah, I thought I played great. The guy's in front of me. I don't know. I mean, he did make one comment about we gave him too many shots, but that was clear to anybody who watched the game. And then we talked to Jamie Alexiak, and I mean, he basically said they needed to be better, as the defense in front of the net, and especially as far as taking the penalties too. And I thought it was most interesting hearing from Dave Haxtell because he did not hold back. He was, I mean, you could see on the broadcast too, he got more animated than I'd ever seen him in a game on this one. And I mean, he wasn't shy about talking about the Susi penalty. He called it a bad penalty. He said it messed up our momentum in the second period. And I think I agree with that assessment. I'm sure you probably do too. Yep. But yeah, it was a bad penalty. He said it was an undisciplined penalty, did not hold back on that. And he also didn't hold back on the officials as well.
Oh, interesting. Like anything specific there? Did it have to do with the caught man on the icing, and then it takes so long to get handled that
was part of pointless? Yeah, that was part of it. He did mention that, and it was also the too many men penalty, the phantom too many men penalty. I mean, with that one, he said, I don't know what the hell that was. We had 5 guys on the ice. And he was kind of asked to follow up about it. He's like, we had 5 players on the ice. Like, they called too many men. That was the call on the ice. And we had 5 players on the ice. We had 5. Like, he kind of seemed almost dumbfounded by it. But on that first one, he said, there's the too many men penalty. And then he said, you try and find ways to generate little bits of offense. Try to find opportunities to get yourself back into a game. Like, they created an icing there in the third period. They're trying to get back into the game. And he said it's 2.5 minutes from the time the icing is called to puck drop. And, he just kind of seemed baffled by that. So, he didn't hold back as far as the officiating. Those couple things he pointed out. And then he said the Susi penalty was kind of the third, big turning point in the game.
Yeah, no, for sure. And talked about it like, a lot, all the things that were working for the Kraken before the break stayed working for him. You get the depth goal from Donato. You get a defensive goal from Alexiak. All the things the Kraken were struggling with pre-break, still struggling with. Discipline, defending, like these are just things that I was hoping the break they could kind of get a reset on, but it just seems like it's still an issue for him.
Yeah, it has kind of gone straight on through the break, and and through a long practice that they did to try and kind of get back into the swing of things. But unfortunately, the issues persist. It's just the kind of thing they're going to have to keep working on.
Yeah, we had a question here from Daniel for you, RJ. How was the sea shanty?
If I'm being honest, I thought, when I saw it before the game, because they were rehearsing everything as I was sitting there before the game, it was, I would have described it as cringy. And then when they actually did it in the game, I was like, well, it wasn't as bad as last time, but it wasn't good. I'm sorry. I'm not a fan. Didn't like it. And yeah, I did not like it because it takes the tune from like the popular Wellerman one, so it doesn't feel original. And I don't know. It felt corny to me. I could see Russell Wilson singing that. I don't know.
Oh man, that's like, wow, you took it next level there.
I got that Hackstall not holding back energy tonight, I guess.
I guess so. Wow, that's big time. Jeremiah in here. How's it going? Tough L catching the Flames off an emotional loss to Edmonton. Couldn't capitalize, but could be worse. Could be the Penguins tonight. Yes,
What
Penguins
happened with them?
They blew a 4-0 lead and lost into overtime to Detroit.
Oh, that's right. And the Red Wings scored in the overtime, and the guy hit the gritty. That was awesome.
Yeah. So yes, it could be worse, but yeah, I think that this is a loss on the Kraken. This is a game that you should have, and your own mistakes cost you from winning.
Yeah,
the bottom line,
especially going into the third period tied against a division team. Those are even just getting to overtime. Those are the points you need.
And we've talked about it before. If your goaltender is giving you 41 saves, I mean, you got to win those games. Bottom line, you just got to win them, and it's not like some triple overtime shenanigans. Got to win.
An interesting comment from Hackstall after the game, though, about the 41 saves and Grubauer. He kind of backed off on praise for Grubauer. He said, "Look, he did his job, and that's all that we just expect everyone here to do their job." Yeah. Did his job, and that's all I'm going to say about it. And also, as far as how many saves he made, he said, "Look, Calgary is a team that throws a lot of pucks on net from everywhere. Different teams play different ways. I don't take much stock into that shots on goal count. They just throw lots of pucks on net."
Yeah, and that is very true. I mean, you look at some of the angles and stuff that they were taking on it, and but I still think he kept the team in it when they were flat, and I think that's the thing that needs to be talked about. And I think that's the stuff that is why it was a good performance from him. SJ, I felt like the Kraken were playing for a tie with 15 minutes left in the game. It is kind of true. I mean, like, it did almost have that feeling. Like, I don't think they were. But again, I mean, when is this top six going to kind of get going for the Kraken, RJ?
Yeah, I mean, they kind of need to just to break out and start generating some more offense. They were doing it earlier on in the game, but it felt like they expected to just kind of happen by itself in the third period. Like, oh yeah, we'll just kind of generate chances by doing whatever it is that we do. And you have to put the work in to create those chances. You've got to dump the puck to good areas. You got to go get it. You've got to have speed through the neutral zone, and they just didn't have any of that.
Yeah, it was just, I don't know. We talked about it earlier, the idea of like trying to get somebody net front. And I was thinking about it, that whole Beniers line. I mean, nobody there is built to go net front, right? Like, you're not going to have McCann as a sniper go net front. Beniers, you want him to be able to roam the offensive zone because he's such a good distributor and he's so smart. That's like where he's at his best. And like Eberle, I mean, he's kind of being more of a distributor now, but he really plays kind of off net, like is how I describe it.
Right. I mean, we saw him work his magic from the perimeter in this game to the 2-2 early assist, and I think he's great at it. But you're right. There's nobody who's kind of built to go to the net there.
Right. And so if you're going to be taking shots from kind of more outside, you've got no one to get your rebound or to help out. Like those are additional opportunities you're leaving on the table. And I think tonight is a good example of why you would want those. You are playing a team on the second half of a back-to-back, right? Like, it is Vladar in there in net. Like, these are things we know. Like, Vladar will leave rebounds. Like, we know that about him. Like, so it is one of those where you feel like you need to, capitalize on some of those, get some of those greasy goals. When the team is struggling or when you need a goal late in the game, tie game, trying to generate a spark, got to get in there and do that stuff. Yeah, another comment here from Joey. Seemed like no urgency from the Kraken. Yeah, it's just kind of a tough one there. Feel like the Kraken have lost their spark and rhythm offensively that they had the first month of the season. I mean, do you think we might see a lineup shakeup here soon?
I think we could see it. I mean, I don't know about next game.
Well, there was a question. Yeah, there was a question earlier someone had about Sprong coming out so Tolvanen can come in.
I mean, this might be a good time to do that. I mean, I thought Sprong overall had a fine game. He had that breakaway that he wasn't able to convert on, but, he still kind of did his thing. I thought the fourth line was good. Brandon Tanev was a big part of that, though. I think he kind of drove the fourth line tonight. But yeah, I could see that. And you want to get Tolvanen in a game at some point.
Right.
So this might be the opportunity to do it.
Yeah, for sure. Stu here. Tough seeing them lose to the Flames, but hey, the Flames are my old hometown, so sorry to say it, but love it. Come on, Stu. Kraken still look wonderful, truly, though. Let's see. I think I need to donate more cash for a haircut. Thoughts? I mean, I know it's a little frizzy today, but come on, it's all right. Look at these gorgeous curls I get in there. It's nice stuff.
Yeah, it looks great.
It's nice stuff. Dexter, any chance of a trade for Chikrin? And we'll talk about it more once the trade deadline comes, but that would be a big deal.
Yeah, very unlikely. It would take a lot.
I said it earlier, any sort of defensive work, that's going to be off-season stuff, not trade deadline stuff, I feel like, for this team. Jay reminded everybody like the stream. Let's see. Anaheim beat Vegas? Nathan asking.
Yeah, they did in a shootout.
Blind squirrel,
Trevor Zegras with a sweet shootout goal. You got to go check it out.
Hey, picked up his 100 first point tonight, so good
for him.
Let's see. Better Anaheim gets 2 points than Vegas. Agreed. Duds here from Sarah. No point for Maddie. Agreed. I mean, Maddie played really well tonight, especially defensively. Maybe outside of that Huberto goal, we don't need to talk about that one for him. Letting the Flames get 44 shots on goal. I know. Studs. The Tanev brothers being out there together for sure.
Yes.
Grubauer and the Ducks beating the Golden Knights.
Oh, I was just going to say the Tanev brothers, because I'm sure you've talked about this already. I haven't got the chance to yet, but like, it was great seeing them, and they spent pretty much all of warmups just together doing that interview.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, Brandon Tanev, he was playing like someone whose brother was on the other side of the ice. He was everywhere tonight, and you got to think that played a factor in it.
Yeah, and it's funny too, because like during the interview, I mean, they play exactly like they are like their personalities are. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Like Brandon's a little more brash and big personality. Chris, a little more reserved. There's a reason he's kind of a calm and cool, collected defenseman. Very much play like that. It was an interesting interview. Normally when you got the brotherly interviews, they're a little more like ribbing each other, trash talking, but this is pretty subdued from both of them, gotta say. They were trying. They were giving them good prompts too. Just wasn't coming across.
They did seem kind of focused, and I will say, because I was recording like after the interview ended, they both skated away apart from each other. Did not even acknowledge the other one's existence on the way out. Like they were in game mode.
Yeah, it was kind of interesting. They were trying to get like Chris to talk about the Tanev eyes and stuff, and he was just like, "Yeah, I didn't know if he did it on purpose or not." It was like it. It was like okay. Well, moving on. Let's see here. SJ, the Athletic did a schedule analysis, and it said the Kraken schedule actually gets a little easier from here on out. So that's something. That is something. And
we know this has been a tough stretch.
Yes, it's been a tough stretch for them. And then, people are talking about like, okay, this loss kind of pushes us out of a playoff spot. We've still got games at hand, although we're going to start kind of chewing into that games in hand advantage here with this kind of pretty brutal stretch of a lot of games coming up, RJ.
Yeah, the Kraken don't have 2 days in a row off between games for almost another month. It's a stretch of, I think it's like 15 games in 28 days or something. I mean, something crazy like that. I know Hackstall knows exactly what it is because he brought it up to me the other day after practice. I said, hey, you guys have this stretch without 2 days off for like almost a month. And he's like, yeah, it's like 15 games in 24 days. Whatever it was exactly correct. So I know he knows.
Yeah, you got to think he's there for that. Let's see here. Dexter Dunn made some fantastic plays defensively tonight. That being said, zone exit and entry needs to be better. Yeah, I mean, we had a question earlier in a little conversation about, why did it look like on the power play the Flames could just like enter the zone totally fine and it's easy, and then for our power play it's like this big epic struggle all the time.
Yeah, I mean, the Kraken have been, and I think this is a theme over the last few games, kind of sitting back at the blue line on the power play, letting teams get entries a little too early. Very passive, and it's everywhere, too. It's passive on the entries. As we know, it's passive in front of their own net. Yep. It's just passive everywhere, and I think they might need one of these just kind of change everything type of meetings like they had last season where, they just change the philosophy and be like, look, we're going to be more aggressive.
I think I might have to take responsibility, everybody, for that, because, I was really pushing that whole keep the play in front of you, keep the play in front of you. They were getting beat behind like way too much. Keep the play in front of you. And now they're keeping the play so far in front of them. Neither defender wanted to leave the goal line on that Huberto goal.
Yeah, pretty much.
They did it too well. Stop taking me so literally. Everybody else knows not to take me literally. Come on.
That's true. That's a lesson you learn early on with Dylan. Don't take him literally.
Not at all. Scott, the Alexiak goal was a nice one. Turbo robbed on those breakaways. Yeah, so I wanted to talk about it because Darren Pang brought up on the broadcast that goal from Jamie Alexiak, 19th goal by a Kraken defenseman this year, which is extraordinary. And it is one of those things that, I don't want the rest of the team and kind of the rest of the way the Kraken play to take that for granted, because you know as well as I do, RJ, that's highly unusual, and it's generally not something that's repeatable year to year, right? Like
no, it's
something...
not. But we've seen this is like a factor of Dave Haxtell's system. Sorry, go ahead, finish your thought.
Well, I was just gonna say it's one of those things you never know how it's gonna play out year to year. So it's just like when you have like a hot sniper who's just shooting at like 20%, and they're gonna kind of maybe keep that up for a year. You got to kind of strike while the iron's hot with that sort of thing, you know?
Right, you do, but I think it's no accident, just given the way that this team plays, how the defensemen activated. We see it so many times where it doesn't result in a goal too, and I think that's what tells you that it's kind of legit. Where you'll see, even a guy like Adam Larson just consistently activating down low. I saw it a lot in this game. Everybody gets involved with that, and when you have the defenseman activating like that all the time, as a matter of strategy, you're going to get the goals that result from it. And Jamie Alexiak was a perfect example there.
Yeah, agreed. Let's see here. Another poor time penalty for Soucy. Not physical enough from Rocktod there. Brian, Soucy's penalty was not necessary again. Did we give up a goal on the PK? No, but it's 2 more minutes of us scrambling and not in a position to apply pressure. Flurry time. Oh.
Flurry time, maybe.
I mean, it's a question. Another thing that I talked about earlier, RJ, I asked John Forsland on the broadcast, hey, do the Kraken ever change their defensive pairings? And Forsland, just like all of us, would say, no, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
And I do feel like, again, we've talked about it. I've brought it up, the idea of maybe you do that and maybe that can kind of help get them out of the funk that they're in. But at the same time, you look at it and you're just like, I don't know what you would do. I honestly don't know what changes they would make. And so that's where, again, it speaks like there's probably going to be some sort of, wholesale change going on. But again, that's probably going to have to wait for the off season.
Probably, yeah. And with any change you make in season, you're going to have growing pains with whatever the new pairings are. As much as we complain now, I think we need to remember the capacity for it to get worse. If you change things up, just communication wise, we ought to know that can happen.
Yes, for sure. Steven asking, what does Geeky bring? And Brian responding, a gold card to Pizza Hut for 500, Alex.
I mean, you can't forget that.
No, you can't bring that. But I mean, a lot of the Kraken's success this season has been that fourth line. I mean, they were hugely impressive. I don't know what's going on back there.
Someone was yelling, "Yep, let's go Yankees." So I don't know what's up with that.
Interesting. So much of like the Kraken's success tonight, depth, the depth of the offense, the fourth line applying pressure, just outplaying the opposing team. He obviously centers that fourth line, but he's also, he's up there as far as like goals per 60 this year amongst all players in the NHL. Like Morgan Geeky brings basically play in the opposing team zone instead of yours when he's out there on the ice.
Yeah, exactly. And on that fourth line too, I think he's just that linchpin that holds it together, because when you have guys like Daniel Sprong, who is very, offensively minded, when you have a guy like Brandon Tanev, who's going to be all over the puck wherever it is, you need somebody who is very smart and can stay back and be in position. And it might not be the most glamorous role on that line, but not anyone can do that.
Right. And then as we found out when he was missing from the lineup, Morgan Geeky, the penalty kill is exceptionally better when Morgan Geeky is in the lineup and he is out there to help out. If you think the PK was like struggling these last couple games, it was really brutal when he was out of the lineup. So Morgan Geeky absolutely has to stay in the lineup, in my opinion, and I think yours as well. Let's see. Yeah, SJ agreeing. Geeky's, but makes the whole fourth line click. Nice transition, bringing RJ in, very smooth. Thank you, SJ.
Yeah, good job,
RJ. Only skating today was on the slab in CPA, not outside. Very true.
Exactly. Yeah, can't skate out there today.
Here we go. We got Hunter, RJ with the low blow, and Brian shots at Russell Wilson when RJ chose violence.
Come on, if Patrick Starr can get in on it, why can't I?
Yes, and Sarah agreeing with you. Agreed, the phrasing on the Kraken Wellerman song was horrible. Loved the idea and energy for the song, but the execution of the lyrics and tune were bad. So there you go.
Yeah, I agree.
Some there. RJ with the rush shade, truly becoming a Seattleite. Let's see. SJ, hey, Magnus Hellberg came in after the first and shut down the Penguins in that Wings Pens game. Shout out to Hellberg. Yes, shout out to him and not Billy Huso, who tanked my fantasy team tonight for me. The negative 7.2 performance. Also, all three of my Penguins, I ended up in the -2. It was a rough night.
Perfect.
Game was not kind to me, but good on Hellberg there. Jeremiah here. RJ is right about Calgary. They had 47 against Edmonton last night. I mean, it is true. They just love to shoot the puck. Can't match it. November was a rush. December is a bust from JA. I mean, it's been a rough month for the Kraken. It certainly hasn't been as high as the rest. Jay, with that, another awesome reminder to like the stream and saying Dylan Flo almost matching Bowie. Don't know how to take that one, to be honest.
Take it as a compliment.
I'm going to take it as a compliment. It's from Jay. Generally, those are compliments there. Got a bot here. Let me get rid of that real quick. Hopefully that wasn't there bugging y'all too long. Let's see. Jeremiah, don't cut the hair, man. Can't listen to these detractors. Trust me, you'll appreciate it when it's gone. You're not the first to tell me that, and I trust me, I take it to heart. Believe me.
Yeah, definitely.
I got some uncles that have weighed in similarly, so I understand. Let's see. Kuhlman getting top line minutes in Winnipeg. I thought it was a loss, but Tolvanen was Nashville first round pick. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting when he gets into the lineup. It's going to be interesting.
And I mean, I got to talk to him for the first time, I think yesterday at practice too. And I asked him to kind of describe his game, like, how for someone who maybe hadn't watched a play before, how would you describe your game? And the first thing he said was, I like to score goals. I like to score. He's like, I like to hit guys too and block a few shots, but you could tell like that scorer mentality was there with him.
You got a super chat, Afra. Yes, you got a super chat. Come on up.
Oh, yes.
Come on up. Go on. Oh, you need help? She was just laying down. Legs might be a little tired.
Oh. Secondhand exhaustion for Grubauer facing all those shots.
Yeah, exactly. Very much so. Thank you, Jay, for the super chat. The treats for Dog Squad. I'll get these going here real quick for you. Let's see. Jay also, I only have tickets for the first, then I leave for Dutch Harbor, Alaska on January 1st and won't be back until March 1st, going to feel like a mini off season. Well, I hope you enjoy the trip there, Jay. Hopefully it's all good stuff that you're going up there for.
Yeah, I was going to say, for Alaska. It could go both ways, I think.
Yeah, and here we get some treats for Dog Squad. Get you in frame there.
Thank you for the super chat, Jay, and the treats for Afra. Sure. Now, Dylan, if you have a minute, I have a treat for you.
Oh, yeah.
I think that the people want to see.
Yes.
Check it out.
Let's go. I don't have the
Adam Larson bobblehead. That is for you. I will give it to you when you come up here. Yes. Now, this bobblehead is courtesy of Ben, also known as Benny Drawbars, the organist at the Kraken games. So he stepped up, reached out, and brought this over to me in the press bridge. So thank you to Ben for this. Dylan's going to love it. And cool to see that we've got a member of the ECH community who's the organist at the Kraken games. Benny Drawbars does a great job.
Yes, does a fantastic job up there. Thank you very much, Ben. If you happen to be listening, definitely gonna have to say thanks up there in person when I come up for that Lightning game. And then obviously, just a reminder, everybody, going to be up there, going to be doing that watch party for January 14th game against Calgary. It's an away game. We're going to be over at Queen Anne Beer Hall. Oh, Chicago, that's what I meant. Going to be at Queen Anne Beer Hall for that one. Going to be watching the game with everybody, and then doing the post game live from Queen Anne Beer Hall. It's going to be a lot of fun. And then after on that following Monday, the 16th against Tampa Bay, we'll be heading over there after things at CPA are all wrapped up for a post game live as well. So really, really looking forward to that trip. Going to have a lot of fun there. She's already back down on the bed. She had to jump off just to kind of, again, push, do a quick plug. Got a very special Release the Fans coming out tomorrow, everybody. And just part of the reason she had to hop off the bed was I have some old artifacts here that were brought up during my very first pair of skates, everybody, from back when I was about 3.5, learning how to skate, 4 when I was playing hockey. So just a little tease as to some
And
stuff.
I haven't even seen those before. I am looking forward to this.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. Turns out I have all my old pads from when I was 4 playing hockey. I have the whole pad set. Only thing I don't have is a stick. So
okay,
that somehow got lost over the years. Sarah, the goal where the puck came in behind Grubauer was rough, but I love the organist playing the DuckTales theme song. That is such a good song choice. So speaking of the organ right there, speaking of Ben, there we go. Get a shout out from Sarah.
Yes, that is awesome. And I mean, like, he does good work.
As you put away my precious treasure there.
Yeah, sir. I'm I'm actually getting my my phone charger out because I'm at 5% battery.
All right. Well, there we go. Gotta hold on for a little bit here. Everybody very excited. Lots of thanks for Ben in here from everybody. Oh man, so awesome. Let's see. Trade Hunter with the rough one. Trade Donskoy for a bag of pucks. Come on.
Oh, that's rough.
Maybe not so hot take. Our special teams are really holding us back from JA there. I mean, I think that is part of it. The special teams have been rough for this team. I don't think that's a hot take at all. I mean, the PK has struggled at times. The power play struggled at times. It is one where, you can almost say that the combination of the two cost us like a goal a game almost, it seems like at times.
Yeah, and I mean, the Kraken have consistently done well at 5-on-5, and it feels like whenever they get to enough of a rhythm going at 5-on-5, sometimes it's an undisciplined penalty, and then you've got the special teams having to deal with it, and on the PK, and then the power play just not being able to separate the Kraken from opponents in games. I think that's that's a fair assessment.
Yeah, I think you're that's very reasonable, JA. Let's see. Jeremiah, OMG, I have to get to a Kraken game. I'd love to hear Brass Bonanza, just a fun hockey song. Yes. I mean, you do need to get down for a Kraken game,
yeah.
Jeremiah. Definitely got to make that happen. Hopefully you can do it. We can try to plan trips around. Would love to meet you. Striatic, the Larson bobble needs to be in the Dylan stream background or on a loading screen or somewhere so Ben can still enjoy it. Yes, I think there's got to be plenty of room back there in one of those display cases. I can get it up and display it nice. For sure. I've got the Larson signed picture Brian was nice enough to gift to me. Got that hanging on the wall over here. Can't see it on stream, but I get to look at it and enjoy it every time I sit at my desk here. So yes, thank you so much, everybody. Jay, again, if you're here, you should just give a like so more people can find the stream. It must be 5 minutes. Jay's back in there, invited everybody.
There you go.
Appreciate it so much, Jay. We'll do a quick last call, everybody, for questions here. Otherwise, RJ, I mean, anything that you didn't get to talk about that you wanted to mention from this game?
Yeah, let me think about that. I mean, I felt like there was a lot of stuff earlier on when the narrative, it felt like it was going to be different for this game, and then it kind of turned, just kind of quiet after the game. I'm trying to think. I don't know. Like there's the little press box story. They had the really good press box like sausages again, like the hot dogs and everything. They're spicy. They're actually like spicy. Got to be picked to. Yeah,
that's good. All right, RJ just got to flex on us. Like, yeah, I get amazing free food. It's like, oh, okay.
I mean, it's it's hard not to brag. They take good care of us here.
They do. I mean, 1000% CPA over Crypto.com Arena, Honda Center, all that. Whatever I get down here, it's all much better. Let me tell you. Hey, Coachella Valley took better care of me than those two places did. So just saying. At least got a cookie there.
It's the Kraken org.
All right, everybody, let's see. Say something, anything hopeful about the Kraken's next 2 week, please, from Striatic. Well, hey, in less than 2 weeks, I'll be up there to see everybody. Does that count? Does that count as something positive, Striatic? No, I think, look, the Kraken are still, they have everything that they need to win games. They're the fourth line and the bottom six are generating a ton of pressure and they're generating a ton of like expected goal value, whatever you want to call it. The defense is still stepping up offensively. You're getting good goaltending games from really both goaltenders still. So I think those are a lot of positives that are good, that mean, much like tonight, the Kraken, even when they lose, these are going to be close losses. It's not like the Kraken are going to be a team that's just going to kind of get stomped on. And I think that that's a positive. The Kraken are always going to be in games. We're always going to be able to watch exciting hockey. And I do feel like this is a team that, at their worst, it's still like a coin flip every night, whether they're going to win or lose at their worst.
Yeah, well said. And my reason for optimism that I'm going to give is that the Kraken are basically playing every other day or more, for the next 3 weeks or so. And this is a team that I think does better when they get into a rhythm. I kind of looked this up. They do not have good numbers after having like a long break off. And part of that is like last year's team that maybe is a little different, but I think this is a team that just does better when they can get into a rhythm. Jordan Eberle talked about that at practice yesterday. Jamie Alexiak mentioned it tonight, that just they feel better when they can, have games, in that set rhythm and not have to have a lot of time off.
Yeah.
It feels almost like they're kind of, scared to be sloppy. It feels that way a little bit. So just the fact that you're not going to have to deal with that they're going to be able to correct any mistakes, like a couple days out, basically, or you're going to have to be back on the ice. I think that's going to go a long way and help the Kraken.
Right. No, totally agreed. Just going to kind of like power through these things real quick here. For Hunter, should we extend Susie or trade him at the deadline? I think that's a question better saved for the next deep dive.
Yep.
So we'll talk. We'll handle that there. Hunter, Rebecca pointing out a Coachella win tonight, so there's that. For absolutely love those Firebird wins. Steven, Wenberg is always on the PK. Seems odd. He's slight, not a physical presence. Feel like we could do better there. Wenberg is still a very heady player. He's very good getting his stick in passing lanes, using his stick, especially on a PK. You almost don't want to be overly physical on a PK because it can kind of pull you out of position too much.
Exactly. If you're laying a hit, you're out of position.
Exactly. You're going to be tied up with somebody that makes it a 4-on-3 elsewhere. That's way worse for your team. So I'm totally fine having Wenberg out there. And then, yeah, Jay, we have an opportunity to win tonight. We'll take advantage in the future. Absolutely. And then just lots of good nights, everybody here. And excited to watch us beat McJesus in person on Friday from Nathan. So there we go. It's going to be a fun one. Got some interesting stuff, RJ. It's going to be reverse retro energy. Also, also tie energy. We're hoping for some like double negatives, cancel each other out kind of thing. That's what we're going for against Edmonton. But I'm looking forward to it. So glad to have Kraken hockey back, everybody. So glad to be doing this with everybody. One last time, shout out to Queen Anne Beer Hall for sponsoring these post-game lives, making all this stuff happen for us. Thank you, everyone, and we will see you all next time.